So unfortunately, one of the things that I've come to realize is that there's a lot of things or a lot of reasons for men to be frustrated with women. And I think due to what a lot of you are seeing online or in your personal lives, you know, it's left a bad taste in your mouth. And I completely understand it. However, I do think a lot of interpretations of women's behaviors are not always accurate, or they're not giving a full, well-rounded picture. There's this tendency to always jump to only the negative, right? Rather than consider some of the other possibilities going on here. And when we only focus on the negative, well, then naturally it creates a dynamic where a lot of men are just tired of women, frustrated with women, giving up with dealing with women, however you want to frame it. But to me, I recognize the fact that no matter how you're feeling today about women in general, or about a certain woman, there's a very good chance that at some point in your life, you're still going to want to be with one. You're still going to want to have a relationship with one, or you may meet one that you feel like is different. So with that said, one of my goals I set out to do when I do videos for the men is to help bring clarity to a lot of different situations and scenarios that I think, again, people may be misinterpreting. Now, in today's video, we're going to be talking about why she plays hard to get with you. And I'm going to put it out there right now. The reasons I'm about to lay out, don't just take one and run with it, right? I'm giving you different possibilities. And I can say this confidently that these are all possibilities because I've sat down and coached so many women who have been honest with me about why they did what they did, all right? And I've been able to break it down and see or get to the bottom of what's really driving their actions. And so I'm bringing this clarity to you so that, one, you learn not to only take a negative outlook on certain women's actions, right? But also so that you can better navigate the situation when you're dealing with someone that maybe you actually want to make things work with, okay? So with that said, let's get this thing going. And so one of the reasons why she plays hard to get with you, and I want to start with something that I feel like doesn't get spoken about enough, is that she's actually intimidated by you, okay? Now again, I'm not saying take this and run with it and apply it to your situation automatically, but let's talk about it. I'm gonna use myself as an example real quick. I've been in situations where it may not have been a woman I was even dating. Let's just say I go out with a friend, homeboy of mine or homeboys, right? We meet some women that they know. And the whole time, woman's not talking, not showing me any kind of energy. So in my mind, all right, she's not interested. And I go about my business. I enjoy myself. Otherwise, I talk to other people, whatever the case may be. We leave the establishment. We go on with our day. The next day, one of my homeboys who knows the girl is telling me how, yo, she's interested. She wants to talk to you. And I'm like, what are you talking about? She didn't give me any kind of energy. She didn't show me any love whatsoever. And he was like, listen, man, like, you got to recognize sometimes a woman is intimidated by you. Now, I understand due to the position that I'm in, this may be a more common occurrence, right? But that doesn't mean it doesn't happen to a lot of guys at various levels of their life. Because I've spoken to women where I remember one client, she was like, when she's talking to guys in general, she can be very friendly, talkative, show attention, flirt, whatever. But when she meets a guy that she actually really likes or is very attracted to, she turns into like having two left feet. Like she doesn't know what to do with herself anymore. And now she may act very awkward, very distant. And so it comes across like playing hard to get, when in reality, she just doesn't know what to do with herself in that moment. And she doesn't understand how to navigate the situation. So now, you got to also understand that the intimidation doesn't just stop there. Sometimes it's intimidation that leads to, she's so worried about how she presents herself to you that, again, she's kind of just waiting for you to drive the whole situation. So it feels like, oh, okay, she wants me to chase her or whatever. And it's like, no, it's just that, again, she does not know how to move in this situation. So now, As a man, I don't want you to have to overanalyze every situation to determine if she's just intimidated. The easy, quick fix for this is that when you see a woman or you feel like you're engaging with a woman who seems to be playing hard to get, talk about it. This is why I tell people all the time, red flags are not meant to just, you see it, you run. You address it, you discuss it, and then you see if it can be corrected. So if she is not, let's just say she is intimidated, what's gonna make her feel more comfortable and at ease is you talking to her. And talking to her not in a position of being bothered or assuming anything negative, is saying, hey, I feel like I'm not receiving the energy from you that I need to receive. Are you interested? And if you are, this is what I need from you going forward. So it's not just addressing it and trying to discover what's going on with her. It's letting her know, listen, if you want this to work and want this to grow, this is how you need to show up for me. And if you can't, whether she's intimidated or it's another reason I'm gonna mention later, she's gotta go because she has to do her part. So it's just something to be mindful of. It's something to consider, but it does happen more often than a lot of guys think. All right, so now another reason why a woman is playing hard to get with you is because she's receiving bad advice, all right? So unfortunately, a lot of women grew up in households where they were told, if a man wants you, he's gonna do everything he has to do to get you. They've been told, you're the prize, the man needs to chase after you. All these things where, just so you know, if you were to go to my channel for women, I tell them like, listen, this whole making a man chase, no one should be chasing after anyone. And for those of you guys who feel like, nah, they're not the prize because you're the prize, I don't agree with that neither. You're both a prize. Two people who are for each other are both a blessing to each other. They're both a prize. And if we approach it in that way, we can have a mutually beneficial situation, all right? And that's how we build healthy relationships, because that's what I'm all about. I'm here to help you have a healthy relationship. But with all this advice that a lot of women are receiving, that leads to them doing things that sometimes shoots themselves in the foot and creates problems in the pursuit of trying to have a healthy relationship. And so as a man, again, everything I'm about to mention is going to always be solved, or you're going to be able to have a chance at correcting it by communicating about it and not just jumping to a conclusion, because that bad advice does not automatically mean she's not serious about you. It does not automatically mean she isn't willing to do her part. It's just that when people really like someone, especially women, more specifically women, they can tend to overthink, okay? And if they have too much outside noise telling them what to do, they're gonna make mistakes. And here's the reality. As a man, some of you have had the same thing happen to you, where you allowed bad advice to cause you to go about things the wrong way with a woman that you actually really liked. And she ended up taking your actions in the wrong way. All right? So we gotta have a little more grace for each other. Everyone does not have ill intent, but many people mishandle things. And many people are unfortunately taking advice from individuals who are speaking from a bitter, hurt, negative place, not a healthy, healed place. So you gotta be mindful of who you're consuming this advice or content from. What's really driving their guidance for you, all right? Because it can end up creating more problems than necessary. So all that to say, yes, a lot of women are being told this whole, and I'll say this also, there's a lot of women who have bought into the ideology that men are hunters, so men want to challenge all these things. But I tell the women all the time, that might be true to a certain extent when a man just wants to sleep with a woman, all right? But when a man actually likes a woman, I think y'all can agree, when we actually like a woman, when our emotions are genuinely invested, there's no man who says, I hope she plays hard to get, right? So I've expressed that to them, but I want you to understand that's what you may be battling sometimes when you come across this. So just be mindful of it. But again, having a discussion about it and letting it be known what you need from that woman can help solve this problem. All right. So next on this list of reasons why a woman's playing hard to get with you is unfortunately is because her interest is not strong enough. Okay. Now I say strong enough because what I see happen a lot of times is a woman may entertain a man and she may have given herself reasons to give you a chance, right? Maybe you've been pursuing her for a while and been trying to get an opportunity. Maybe you were introduced to her by a mutual friend, coworker, whatever the case may be. And for whatever reason, she decided, even though I'm not necessarily feeling this, I will give it a try. But because she does not have strong enough interest, right? She's not gonna come with the same energy as the woman who genuinely is into you. And she's not gonna be willing to put in the same level of effort. And so that's the reason why she is not just playing hard to get, but why she can be so comfortable doing it. Now, here's the trap that a lot of men fall into. So she's playing hard to get, or she's not showing up a certain kind of way because even though she has a level of interest, she's just not that interested in you. You think, or you've been told, well, you got to go hard and keep trying and show her why you're the guy for her, right? And sometimes that will work. When I say that will work, meaning you will get the woman. She'll feel like, you know what, you're a safe choice. You seem to have these strong feelings for her. You're doing all these things. You're showing up the right way. Okay, cool. I'm gonna move forward with this. But the problem is you allowed your desire for her to blind you from the fact that this woman does not show up the way that you need. And please believe, getting into a committed relationship with her, marrying her, isn't going to now magically turn her into a woman who has serious interest in you. All right? So what you find is that man who has to chase and know all these things, even when he catches her, he finds himself now in a relationship where she continues to not pour into him the way that he needs. And you're thinking, well, after all these years of the work I've put in, I deserve to reap the benefits of that. That's not usually how it's going to play out. Because the foundational issue of not enough strong interest or not a genuine interest was never corrected. So now, in addressing this, as we said, we're going to always address these things. The way you're going to be able to tell the difference between, all right, is this just a matter of maybe one of the other issues we mentioned, or this woman's just not that serious to begin with or that interested, is if you address it. And that's why it's so important that in addressing it, you're not just finding out the why, you're explaining what is necessary to move forward. Because if you say to her, all right, well, listen, because she's not going to tell you, chances are, well, the reason why I haven't been maybe calling you as much or doing as much as you may like is because I'm just kind of interested. She's not going to say that. She's going to come up with some other type of reason. Whatever the reason is, so be it. The key is, now that you've laid out for her, okay, well, now I need to see this from you to feel like you're serious about this relationship, you're serious about me. If she's genuine, she will make the corrections. Because a woman who's really interested and knows, okay, you're drawing a line, and if I don't do what I gotta do, I'm gonna lose out on this guy, is gonna do what she needs to do. But if she's not that serious and that's just what it is, she's just gonna drag things along, make excuses, whatever, flip things back on you, make it about what you're not doing or something that you can do better, and do not fall for that. And I've seen tons of men fall for that. You gotta hold her to the standard you are setting, and if she does not meet that standard, you have to let her go. All right, so now we got a few more to go, and another reason why a woman plays hard to get with you is because she has deeper issues that she doesn't know how to deal with and doesn't want it to scare you away. So essentially, this hard to get approach is not really about that. It's about creating a level of distance that gives her time to figure out like how to navigate this situation. So again, there are tons of dynamics going on where a woman actually really likes the guy, really is interested in the guy, but she's afraid of, okay, let's just say, I'm just using one example. Let's just say she doesn't have the greatest past, right? And she's afraid of getting too close and then you finding out and then you dropping her. And so instead, there's this, when you engage with her, when you're talking to her, maybe when you go out on a date, you feel this energy that makes you feel like, man, this girl really likes me. But then when y'all not together, it's like, okay, what's really going on here? It's very confusing. It's very conflicting. And sometimes it's because she's going through her own inner conflict about the situation, all right, and about what she's trying to deal with. Now, please understand, when any woman has something that they need to heal from, that they need to address, do not fool yourself into thinking that you can heal her. You can be an encourager of her going through the process of healing. You can talk about these things, right? But you have to understand that if she doesn't resolve what's going on within her, nothing you do or say will work. So I'm going to give one example. It's in a different way, but just work with me here. I remember one time I was coaching a married couple, and they were having some issues in the bedroom. And the reason is because the woman did not feel good about how she looked. She gained some weight, body changed, and she wasn't feeling confident, right? So that was leading to her not wanting to engage as much physically. Now, the husband was like, yo, I'm cool with the weight that she gained. I still think she's beautiful. I still want, I still desire. So he was doing his part as far as, showing desire, showing attraction, letting her know how beautiful she is, all these things. But none of that could change how she felt from within. And so you have to recognize that all you can do is bring it to the woman's attention. Like, again, in addressing the issue, if it comes out that there's some things that she's, dealing with or whatever, encouraging her to find ways to address that. But you got to understand that as a man, you can't do it for her, and we don't know if she'll ever face the issue and resolve it, okay? So whatever is causing her a problem, she has to find peace with. And all you can do is do your part and express how you feel and what your position is. And that's why I think it's important that when you are dealing with a situation where you feel like a woman is potentially playing hard to get for whatever her underlying reasons are, part of addressing it is being clear about how you feel and where you stand, because that will allow her to feel more comfortable being transparent about what's going on with her if she is on the side of she has genuine interest, but there's something conflicting with that versus the woman who's just trying to play games with you. All right, so now here's another reason why women get hard to get with you, and this is more focused on the woman who straight up is just playing games, right? Or doesn't have real interest in you. And she does it because she likes the attention. Now, I think that what it reminds me of, I don't know if some of y'all may or may not be familiar with the old show Family Matters, right? And you had Laura and Steve Urkel, who were, nerdy kid. He'd shown her all this attention or whatever. And even though she genuinely, I don't think in that situation was playing hard to get, she just wasn't interested. But long story short, and we've seen it in different TV shows, scenarios, real life, whatever, where the woman's getting all this attention. Even if she's not interested in the guy, it can get to a point where she still enjoys it. And so now what happens is when the attention is taken away, she feels some kind of way about it. And now she'll do things to reel you back in, but she's not really interested in moving things forward. She just wants to gain your attention back. And so you fall back into this cycle of her playing hard to get, because all she's really trying to hold on to is you feeding her that attention that makes her feel validated and that she enjoys. So there are women who are going about it for that reason. And hell, there are some women who have multiple men on their roster because they just like the attention that they're all feeding them. Now, as a man, again, this is why it's so important that I want you to pour into the woman who is willing to pour back into you. Plain and simple. And if she is unwilling to match your energy, then you have to stop giving your time and attention to her. Plain and simple. And again, I sound like a broken record. having a discussion, communicating about these things. And I'm not going to say no woman is never going to lie to you, and if she's really about playing those games, but it's going to give you a better chance at exposing what's actually going on here, because we don't want to jump to any one of these conclusions. But it is a possibility. It does happen, so it's something to be aware of. All right, and now just quick mention, if you ever need any books, resources, coaching, or you want to show up, come to one of my live events, and yes, my live events are for men and for women, you can go to stephanspeakshop.com or click the link in the description or the comment section. All the resources you need are on that site, so definitely check it out. Now, we got a couple more reasons to go, and another reason why a woman is playing hard to get with you is because she feels like it makes her more valuable in your eyes. All right. So this is kind of going back to the whole bad advice that women are getting. And one of those things was like, if a man really wants you, he'll chase after you. If a man really wants you, he's going to do what he has to do to get you, all these different things, as well as the ideology that men like a challenge. So you have some women who believe that if I make things too easy for him, he will not value me, all right? He will not respect me, and I'm going to end up playing myself. So she creates this hard to get dynamic because she thinks that's what she's supposed to do, all right? And the only way for her to understand this is a problem is if you let her know it's a problem. You let her know that this is not the way to win me over. If you want to make things work, again, you gotta show up a certain way and lay out for her what that looks like. You can't just leave it up to her to determine what that is. You have to say what you need. If you feel like, man, I'm constantly calling this girl, I'm constantly trying to make time to see her, but I don't get that in return, all right, then that's exactly what you need to tell her. Like, listen, if we're gonna keep this going, I need you to be more available for me, or I need you to initiate more time with me, or I need to hear from you more often. Whatever the case may be, let it be known. That's the only way you're gonna be able to see more clearly what she's really on and what she's about. So, bottom line, quick and simple, yes, some women are just under the impression that this is what they need to do to be more valuable in your eyes. All right, now last but not least, another reason why a woman plays hard to get with you is because at the end of the day, she doesn't trust herself, or she doesn't trust men, or both. And really what that boils down to is she's been hurt before, she hasn't resolved that hurt, and now she has walls up, all right? And it doesn't allow her to fully embrace being as vulnerable as she needs to be for things to proceed. And as I explained to you before, as a man, you can't fall into the trap of thinking you can heal this woman. You can encourage it, you can suggest it, you can join in on the journey in regards to, hey, if she's down to do what she needs to do for herself, that you'll go, see your own counselor and see what you can do for you if you feel like this is a woman that there's some serious potential here. But you cannot sweep it under the rug, and you cannot drag her through it. It has to be a choice that she makes for herself and does her part. But it definitely plays a role in why a lot of women are approaching things in this way. Like, listen, just to give you a quick example, I've had situations where, long story short, woman's dating a man, let's say 3 months, and after 3 months, she's not hearing from the guy anymore. And she's coming to me feeling like, okay, is this guy playing games? Is he not serious? Like, what's going on? How do I handle this? And after I dug deeper, I found out throughout those 3 months, that man was initiating everything. He was calling her every day. He was making plans to see her, all this stuff. Yet she never called him. And I had to explain to her, like, yo, he might have just stopped because he feels like you're not showing up for him the way that he needs. So why? He doesn't want to get played. He has his concerns too. But I'm telling you this story to say she was genuinely oblivious to this being a problem, because to her, that's the way the dynamic's supposed to work. And unfortunately, he never addressed that concern with her. So that's why, again, it's so important to have these conversations, to not jump to negative conclusions. Yes, sometimes it's a woman who's just not interested enough, a woman who is trying to play games, but there's so many other sides to what may actually be going on, and it could be a fixable thing if we take the right approach and do what we need to do. Thank you for watching this video. I hope it was helpful to you. Be sure to watch this one over here on Do Not Let a Woman Play You. Do these 7 things. And what to better look for, because the reality is that you can have a great relationship with a great woman, but you have to be mindful of what